Thanks a lot. I want to thank Steve and all the A4 Association. Jesus, for inviting me up here to just hear a little bit of what went on long ago for me, far away. It was over in Vietnam, September 26, 1972, and I was flying my second hop of the day. Not a big deal. We went out to this place called Quantico Airfield. Always got shot at there in the afternoon, always. And so what we would do is come back, pinpoint where we thought the guns were, and then go up in the next morning and hammer them.
A little louder, please.
Not much. How about it? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
More better.
Anyway, that afternoon they'd be shooting at us from different places. Little guys are smart, and we moved those guns at night. And so anyway, I went up there, trying to get in, we were bombing, and it was one of those things where just at your release point you're in a cloud. So I made my second run, pulling off, and I just feel it's like thump. And I look, I got flames coming out of the intake, and at that moment, I keep like to say, I'm hit, you know, kind of always do that. The other thing that I did was I looked at the altimeter, 3,000 feet. Good. Because a little bit earlier I had a little experience, and our group commander, called Dean C. Mako, called me in and he said, I never want you below 3,000 feet. Or else. So anyway, Irish Catholic upbringing, Marine Corps training, there's guilt, man. There is guilt right there. Professional guilt carrier. So I looked at that and I go, I don't have to find out what everyone else says. So I mean, this like strange stuff goes through your mind. So kid Mike, nothing, and next thing I know, the plane just pitches over. So I grab hold of it and I kind of wrestle it up and like kind of chugs up a little bit. And the good guys, our guys were only 600 meters away. So I throw the stick over, and the thing just goes clunk. And same with the rudder. It's like, well, pull the wrap, maybe I can still talk to my wingman, wire comes out of my hand. I said, well, you know what, I gotta change these bombs off because I want to like get away from the guys that we've been blowing up. So I pull that comes off of my hand too. So I'm going, really? Anyhow, next thing you know, this thing like pitches over and goes straight down. And so 3,000 feet, 400 knots, I go, I'm out of here. So pull the face curtain. Hear that one? And pull the face curtain, and there's like this huge noise, followed by just utter peaceful silence. And I'm like, coming to, and I go, geez, I'm blind. What happened was, I was going pretty fast down low, so it ripped out the side of my helmet, and it rotated around in my head, so I'm looking out, we don't have a football diamond. Jesus, I'm blind. So I unscrewed the helmet, okay. It also ripped up my G-suit, wrapped it up around my neck, so I'm going, okay, untangle that. I'm going, whoa. And I look up in my canopy, oh shit, I can see sky up there. I don't think I'm supposed to be able to see sky, but it seemed to be working. So I'm not going to touch that. So I reach down, I grab a survival radio, deader than a doornail. Made by the lowest bidder. What are you going to do? So anyhow, I'm looking out over this rubber tree plantation, and I'm coming down to, and it's just all green. So coming down, I'm going, okay, it's going to be a tree landing. Visor down, cross your legs, arms in. I come down and it just grabs the canopy just like that. It's like I'm stepping off this thing right here. It's like, bonk. Oh, something good's happening. All right, so in a rubber tree plantation, up to about 6 feet, there's no leaves or anything on the tree, so you can look forever, and all the trees are lined up. And so I come down, and I look and I see these guys not too far away, 30, 40 meters away. And they had pith helmets on, and they were like having some afternoon chow. And I'm going, you know what? Those guys are friendly. If those guys are friendly, that's the operative word. If they can call their guys, they'll call my guys. Come in, pick me up, because we had a really great Filipino band coming in that night at the club. I'm thinking, I want to get back, be alive, tell my story. It's going to be a shit hot night at the club. So anyhow, I look over, and as I rustle down, these guys, kind of greatest double take I'd give a month's pay to get a picture of that double take. These guys are like 80, and it was like, wow, one of these things, and they throw their rice bowls and everything up, and believe it or not, I can still see rice coming out of the bowl, slow motion, chopsticks going like this, and then it hit the fan. Because the guy says something in Vietnamese, which was, grab your guns and shoot that Yankee air pirate. So they all grab their guns, and they crank them up, and they start shooting at me, full automatic. And I'm going, oh, I'm out of here. So I start running, just who knows where I'm going to run, right? So, but these guys are kind of after me now. And I grab my trusty 38. Pull it out, and you know what? I never thought I'd need it to, like, kill anybody. Like, maybe a signal or something. So I had 5 rounds of tracer.
Yeah.
Nothing under the hammer.
Yeah.
Because you know what the Duke said. Pilgrim, you don't want to blow your toe off if you got to jump out. So I had nothing under the hammer. So I'm running, pull a gun out, and I fire my first round on the ground in combat. Boom, about 1 inch from my ear. That was the loudest noise I ever heard. So anyway, I'm hauling ass. These guys are shooting. So I'm kind of going here and then going here, and I'm trying to run diagonally so the guys can't get a good beat on me, because these guys are coming and run over here. More guys are coming up. I'm going, geez, flip. You know, what's going on here? Found out later when I got back. 3 divisions of NBA troops right there. I went right in the middle. So I'm running, and you run a ways, and I'm holding onto the tree going, like that. All of a sudden, about 3 or 4 yards away, this guy pops out. Because the first guy I shot, he's still screaming. Because I'll tell you later, I hit him in the shoulder, so he's screaming. They're shooting. And this guy jumps out, and he's shooting the tree that I'm holding on to. The pieces of the tree are going into me. So, oh geez, bad. Center mass, shot him, move on. So I'm running and shoot, and then the problem is, every place I run to, these guys are coming up. So anyhow, I make this run shoot thing, I'm holding onto this tree, and all of a sudden, thunk, right by my head goes the RPG. Blows down the tree right behind me, knocks me on my butt, and a hush comes over the crowd. And of course, all of us in here probably worked with troops at one time or another. What I'm thinking is these guys were there, and they're shooting and running, and this guy, Nguyen, he's got an RPG, and his buddy says, hey, Nguyen, you ever shoot that thing? He goes, no. He goes, why did you shoot it at that guy? So, yeah, good idea. Boom. And I mean, huge noise, hush over the crowd. So I go, well, I think I'm going to try to maybe negotiate a surrender here. So, the only 2 things I knew in Vietnamese were how to order a beer, and then chu hai, which is what everybody knows. I want to come over to your side. Well, I didn't, the beer thing wasn't going to flow. I knew that right off the bat. So anyhow, I go, chu hai, I'm yelling this out. And after a bit I hear, bro, out your gun. All right, I can do that. I threw my gun out, I threw my knife out, anything that had a point or an edge on it, I threw it out. So all these guys come up. And they weren't too bad. I mean, he knocked me around a little bit, you know. I've been pounding them, shot them a little bit. So you can understand they're kind of just a little miffed. But anyhow, they come up, and, after meeting, until their boss, okay, take your boots off, take off your flight suit, That morning, I put on my Matter skivvies. I get you. I had my LtCol t-shirt on, which is a little Oriental guy, with his conical hat, with a big bomb coming down on his head, and it says LtCol. They went, this. I mean, they were beating the shit out of me. So anyhow, I couldn't really win. But anyhow, luckily after, they were thumping me for a while, in come the helicopters, looking for me, trying to get me out. So what happened is, these guys tie me up, throw me in a hole, put a tarp over me, and then they go me under guns. And once again, our guys didn't know how many bad guys were there, didn't know what was going on. So anyhow, I could hear the rounds leaving their weapons and hitting the helicopters. And then I could feel the explosions from the stuff on the helicopter shooting. So they were hooking and jabbing for a bit. And then after the thunderstorm came in and the helicopters left, and actually I met a couple guys that were on those missions, and out of 8 helicopters, only 2 guys flew all the way home without stopping, landing, and patching themselves up to get out. So they hung in there. They really did a hell of a job. So anyhow, that happened. That's over. They come, they police me up. Okay, we start marching. And we probably walk for a few hours at night. And they take me and I go into this cave. And first guy I meet is some guy. Obviously he had some rank because he had a watch. I always tell those guys, the guys with the watches, they were the guys that were had some yank. So anyhow, he goes in and he's going to try to interrogate me. French. French. I got French 1, right? And he's got an incredibly thick Vietnamese French accent, so that went nowhere. So then they take me further down into this cave, and there's all these shiny instruments. It was a hospital, field hospital, and they're all sharp and all shiny. And I'm going, this don't look good. So anyhow, get me down there, and out comes this guy from this other side, and he's bandaged up. He's got his arm in a sling, and he's carrying my gun. And not smiling. The guy's really bad mood. And he comes and he, points and he goes, "You did this to me." I'm thinking, if I was a little bit older, you wouldn't be here. But I kept it to myself. And then, all the Vietnamese seem to do, takes the gun, puts it right to my nose, and he pulls the trigger. Oof. And so, and once again, these weird, shot, thoughts. I'm going, I hope I fired that thing 5 times. But in all the excitement, I kind of lost count. So I'm up there. By the time he fired it the 6th time, I stopped counting and started breathing again, because I knew there was nothing in there. But he had me for a while. Anyhow, that's over, and then we start marching. We marched up, and actually we were to go about 200 miles. It took almost a month to do it, because it was all on foot. And up on the trails, the guys that we're trying to find were there, and the trails were crowded. Triple canopy. There were people, soldiers, everybody either with packs or bikes, loaded with bikes, just coming and going, like out here on I-80 or whatever it is. Anyway, the cool thing about it was at mealtime, some guy would show up on his bike with a big pot, start going, make rice for everybody. Everybody in the area has chow. And off they go, it packs up, and it was pretty amazing stuff. So anyhow, the NVA troops are pretty tough. And these guys come out, they got AK-47, they got some ammo, they got a hammock, they got a piece of plastic to shield them, and then they got their 40,000-mile Michelin radio sandals that they go. And they're good to go. Those guys don't make any noise, they go through, they're good soldiers. So anyhow, let me catch up. Okay, I'll get in there. And they were pretty fair with me too. If I needed, mostly in the first few days, when you have that kind of excitement, the adrenaline's going, all I wanted was water. I just wanted water. I didn't feel like eating or anything like that. I just wanted some water. And they gave me the water. And we finally walk, and my feet are just bleeding and just all messed up. And I said, hey, we got to stop. Shoot me if you want, but I can't go any further. So a couple minutes later, out come my boots, my flight suit. Put my flight suit on, put my boots on. That's when I noticed in my flight suit, I had 5 or 6 bullet holes, like through the flight suit. They shot a heel right off of one of my boots. The heel was off, and there was a little furrow down there. And then on my other foot, the laces were like melted. So that's pretty good. When you stop and think about it. So, yeah. So we moving on, and a couple days later, when all the adrenaline was wearing off, I had my back was killing me. I mean, I was just dying. And once again, I said to these guys, "Hey, we got to take a time out. My back is killing me. I can't walk any further." And when I got back, we found out that I had compression fracture, pretty good compression fracture, because I was going like straight down. And I'll tell you what, you know, that ejection seat saved my life. But when you're going straight down, you're not sitting in it all that tight, and it got a little head start. And then anytime your ass is going faster than your head, you got a problem. So that's what happened to me. And so I was hurt. So these guys made a little camp outside this town. And by now, we're up around Cambodia. And so we're camping there. And what they do is, anytime the troops are outside of town, they want to go in the Ville, right? So they leave a couple of the junior guys, junior woodchucks, you know, to guard me while those guys are in town. So we're there, and I'm just, you know, laying up, trying to recover. Maybe my back will get better, so I keep going so they don't kill me. So anyway, one of the kids comes up to me, and he has this St. Christopher's medal. It's one my mom gave me that before I went overseas. And he goes, "What is this?" I'm such a bonehead sometimes. I said, "That is big magic. He who carries that will never die." And I showed him the bullet holes, you know, in my flight suit and stuff. He goes, okay. So, anyways, in little aside, after almost 6 months, I got everything from my little plastic pouch that I had, except 2 things. 1, St. Christopher, and 2, $20 American, in case I had to maybe go into Thailand. I thought I might need that. So anyhow, I knew that running around out there, the NBA had this one guy who's catching bombs, running through things, and then I was hoping somebody else used that $20 American for something good. But anyhow, and while we're at this encampment, you hear these big trucks roaring down this road. And once again, two guys, kind of lackadaisical, so they're about equally distant from their weapons as I was from. And I'm thinking, you know, the best place to escape is on the road, because once you get to prison, you're done. They're going to lock you up really good. And I'm thinking, okay, I can beat them to the rifles. I hear the truck coming down the hill, I can run out in front of it, wave the truck down, and we're going to be rescued. I'll be rescued. And you know what? I didn't have the guts to do it. For something, I heard these trucks coming, I want to go do it, I just couldn't do it. And I was down on myself for a couple of days. I said, you are just so weak. Anyhow, I find out later, we're in the Keimer area, so that if I had jumped out, waved down a truck, they would hand me over to the Keimer Rouge, which would have been way worse than the news I was hanging with. So it was like, lucky again. But anyhow, we move on. So we're going in. What I noticed was when we were crossing the streams, two things I noticed. One was that the Vietnamese guys, Indian guys, were really uncomfortable in water. I don't think they swam that well. They were real uncomfortable. Either when you're crossing, sometimes the water would be up here flowing pretty good, or we're in like a dugout boat going across. And the other thing I noticed was the streams did not have a path parallel the stream. So I'm going, I'm going to have to make a move here. And so we come to this stream that went down the ways and made a hard turn. And I'm going, this has got to be it. Because I wouldn't be in their sight line for very long once I got out of the boat and was in the water. So they put a couple guys across, then they put me and my guard in the boat guide. And so about halfway out there, I did one of these things. The guy dropped his rifle to hold onto the boat. I went over the side because those guys had been loosening my bonds, this little rope they had on me. So I got out of that little Mike Nelson underwater, down. I'm expecting bullets to be flying. Nothing. I go around the corner, surface, AK-47 right there. There's a big fat trail right down the other side. The boys were pissed. They were pissed. Because, we had gotten somewhat of a relationship. So anyhow, after that, anytime I rolled over or something at night, I got the gun butt in the back, you want to get away now? Go ahead, try it. And they had me tied up tighter. So anyway, we're in right now. One of the things we're at night, in Cambodia we're moving at night a lot. And the C-130s are flying up above us. And these guys are scared to death of the C-130s. They would turn their flashlights off, they would blow out their candles and everything. And I knew what the sensors were looking for. But what I also knew, the sensors couldn't tell good guys from bad guys. So I was hoping that they never really caught wind of us, which they didn't. But it'll play into, as we went on further, a few more nights, huge rainstorm, thunder, lightning, and everything. They bring me into this camp. We're at the camp. So we get in there, and it's coming down. They turn me over to the camp guys, and this guy gives me a hammock, puts a chain around my ankle, puts me in this cage, leaky cage, smelly cage. But I was so tired, I said, I'll complain to management in the morning. Let's get some sleep. So anyhow, next morning, and your mind is out there, and it's like going crazy. So I hear this worst sounding rooster I have ever heard in my life. I'm thinking it could be a guy who's been here ever since I've been in college. And he's nuts. And I'm going, oh man. And I think he's trying to imitate a rooster. It was a real rooster, man. It was a horrible rooster. Anyhow, later on, as dawn comes up, I'm in this cage, kind of looking out, and I hear this jingling of keys over on the other side. I see this guy come down, he bends down, and he opens the lock on his cage. And out comes his arm, about that thick. And it was like yellow-green arm. Out pops this guy, black pajamas, and once again I go, just like in the movies. Jeez. So anyhow, he comes out, key guy goes around, comes in, the key guy unlocks me, I pop out of my cage and I point to the one, because he unlocked the one in the cage, but he didn't unlock the lock on my foot, my ankle. And I go, hey, dude, you forgot something. He goes, no need. Oh, that doesn't sound good. So anyhow, the guy who had come out of the cage pops up and he's looking over at me and he like pantomimes and talks, are you a Marine? And I go, yeah. He goes, great, we need a Marine here. Yeah, glad to be here. And then he says, you will look like me in 3 months. He was wrong. Only took 2 months. But anyhow, so now I'm in the prison camp. And the camp was about 5 cages arranged around like a watch shack out in the middle where, you know, 1 or 2 of those guys would be guards. And we had 5 Army guys. We had Ken, we had George, we had Mark, we had John, we had Ed. All these guys had been policed up that spring when the NBA came out of Cambodia and was spring offensive. And we had 1 Air Force guy, Dave Baker. He was an O2 FAC, just flying home one day after, you know, wrecking havoc on the bad guys, having a cigarette, boom, Strela got him, down he went. So he was about 2 months after those guys. And he was on the ground when he was trying to escape. They shot him in the actual back of the leg, kind of welded an artery and a vein together. So he was consistently kind of getting worse. But he was a really good guy. So when I was there, they issued me some gear. They issued me a hammock. They issued me a toothbrush, a tube of striped toothpaste, if you can imagine. They issued me some sandals, plastic ones, way too small. And I got a bowl, rice bowl with some chopsticks and a piece of soap, and amazingly enough, bag of tobacco and some papers to roll the tobacco. And I'd given up smoking, but as time went on, I said, you know what, it took me about 2 hours to roll one of those cigarettes, you know, it was time consumed. And then it was horrible tobacco, smoking, it would just about kill you. But anyhow, I got to roll it. By the time I left that camp, I could roll a cigarette riding on a bucking bronco in the middle of a thunderstorm with 1 hand in about 2 minutes. But anyhow, that's what we did. We had Vietnamese their staff was probably about a company, and they were there to protect us from what we have no idea. But anyhow, they were there to protect us, and that was our food. Came down, we were fed twice a day. A little bit of rice, not much. Every now and then, if we were lucky, we got a piece of pig fat on it with pig skin and then a few hairs sticking out of it.
No.
That was a big event. And I think I probably ate enough pig skin to maybe make 2 NFL footballs. Food was always on our mind, always. I mean, because there's so little of it. And we felt that if Ursula Andress came walking down the trail, naked, with a bottle of Dom Perignon in one hand and a Big Mac in the other, we would have killed for the burger. The other 2 things didn't play at all. Yeah. Most of the days are long, they're monotonous. I mean, I remember I'm sitting on my stomach outside my cage. I got a chain around my ankle, which said made in USA, by the way. Anyhow, thinking, you know what? This son of a gun was still going on when I was in college. And it's still going on with no end in sight. And that to me was the hardest part, because I think most of us in here, especially Americans and others, if you give us a buy date we can do whatever we need to do. You know, whether it's you don't have it, it's like infinity, and it is really, really difficult mind placing, really. And that probably of the whole schmear was the hardest thing I had to deal with, is not knowing when I was going to get out of there, or if. So, one of our best tools for sailing was a sense of humor. And so, we had this, guys, of course, they're there to protect us. And we told the camp commander that your guards really suck at protecting. Because we have these snakes, crates, bamboo vipers going around here. These guys don't do anything. We can get bitten by them, it's going to be your fault. So he jumped ugly on his guards for a while. And so what we would do on Sundays, since we didn't have NFL, is we would have a practice snake alert. And so what we would do is go, "Kanzoom, kanzoom," and we point. Kanzoom means snake. It means these guys, not really enthusiastically, because they didn't want to be over there, would grab their guns and go over there. And we go, no, he's over there. And then we'd run those guys around for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then after they go, "He got away." Jeez. You know, and then we'd have a few laughs ourselves. So, you know, small things. And then another thing that we did was the key man, the guy who opened the cages. The guy had to be nearsighted, because he would get down and like that far from the lock before he could get the key in. And what we had at night, because we couldn't get to the latrine at night, were these bamboo tubes, and we would use them instead of going to the latrine, so you can know how good they smelled, especially if you waited in the morning till just before he got there. So anyhow, what we would do is he was coming. We would wait and we would put that right below the lock. So he would go down, jump up, scream, yell, and everything. And the guy was not your sharpest guy, because he would fall for that almost all the time. So anyway, that was our entertainment. Interrogations weren't too bad for us. They weren't as nasty as they were up in Hanoi at the start of the conflict. But what they would do is they would ask us questions, and if we didn't answer, they just wouldn't give us any water for a couple of days. So you would do resist a little bit, give them a little something, you get your water, it all work out. And I was being interrogated by these guys, and he said, "How does C-130 see at night?" I said, "I don't know. I'm a day pilot. They never let me fly at night. I don't know how that night stuff works, so I can't help you." I said, "But I heard they're sending 30 more over to Vietnam." Whoa, these guys are right now down and going crazy. Go, "How do you know this?" I said, "Well, I heard a drunken general talking about it at the old club. They wrote all that stuff down, gave me a great, nice pot of really good tea, a couple good cigarettes, and sent me on my way." And it was pretty, because they were very, very concerned about the 30s. And at that point, the guys also said, "By the way, you are very lucky when you eject. You press the right button." I left it there, but a couple weeks later, we get a monthly bath down there, which is you gather around a wooden box by a well filled with water, wash yourself and wash your clothes. And Dave Baker, the Air Force pilot, said, "Hey, what's with this button thing?" And he starts chuckling. He goes, "Oh, somebody had to tell these guys that to eject, there's two buttons. There's an eject button, there's a destruct button. And the CIA changes the wiring on those buttons so that you don't know." So, yeah, I was lucky. Anyhow, we did maintain some semblance of contact with the outside world. The guy, we call it DRO, Dining Room Orderly. He was a guy that spoke a little English, and he was a guy that gave us our rice a couple times a day. Then at about 5 o'clock, he would get this old hammered, but really good working transistor radio out, and he would tune it in, and he goes, and now you will listen. So he's holding it up, and it was hand on hand. You know, propaganda all the way, but you know, A, it's voices from the outside, and B, you could really pick out what was going on. Because when they said our valiant gunners today shot down 20 B-52s, we knew that the buffs were going up north. You know, you kind of pick stuff out like that. And so, anyhow, then of course, we had Free to Paint, bring boys home, good tunes, and a little Hanoi chain thrown in there, so it was all. But it was not from the jungle, it was from outside world. So that was cool, and that's where we learned that Henry Kissinger had dazzled Madam Ben to come to a peace agreement. And so, finally, peace was at hand. And part of that agreement, every prisoner was supposed to get a copy of the agreement. We're in a jungle. 3 days later, we got our copy. It was like number 15 carbon, totally illegible. But when they gave it to us, check, check. All these guys got their stuff. So that's the way they operated. And so at that point, they took the chains off. They started giving us a little more food, let us, you know, talk to each other. And we were looking at you, going, dude, you are getting so fat. Nobody's going to believe how bad this thing was. All relative, right? But we were getting more chow. And just as the time was coming for us to move out and get released, word comes down Dave Baker, whose leg was getting really worse. We're going to take him away and operate on and save his leg. We knew if they took him away, we'd never see him again. They'd probably blame it on our airplanes that bombed him or something like that. So myself, my main man, Mark Allen Smith, were chosen. Mark Allen Smith, Army Ranger, and he was recommended for the Medal of Honor for his work. He held off 3 divisions by himself for 3 days. A wild man. I could stand up here for 2 days and tell you stories about him. But anyway, we were selected to go talk to the camp commander. You know, tell him, hey. So we get with the camp commander and we said, look, right here, something that you can read says that all sick or wounded will be released first. And everyone in this camp is either sick or wounded. That guy looked us right in the eye and he said, no one knows you're here. I could kill you all and nobody would know. We went, oh, okay. So you do what you're going to do, but Dave stays with us. So we go back to our cages, and Dave, of course, is on pins and needles. And he says, so, well, why not? Well, we told what the camp commander said. And he goes, and we said, the operation's tomorrow. We couldn't hold it any longer. That was part of our sense of humor thing. Anyway, we go, no, you're coming with us. Wherever he takes, whatever he does, it kills us all, he's going to kill you. That's it, but you're with us. You're not going to get operated on. And so that was it. And so later on, probably a couple more days, we got on a truck, headed down to Lockman, and while we're there, we hooked up with about 18 other American POWs who had been policed up in Tet 68. We thought we were bad. These guys were in bad shape. I mean, it was like, and 25 of us, the only ones that ever came out of South Vietnam. The whole evolution, all the guys and people that have been missing, we're the only ones that got out of there. So that was interesting. Ultimately, we finally, and there was a lot of negotiations going on back and forth. And one of the things, going back to the MIA stuff, now I'll get to that a little bit. Anyhow, so in comes Hill kilo down to Saigon, C9 down to Clark Air Force Base. And because it was late, we got off, it's probably 1 or 2 in the morning, there's not too many people there. We're getting off, out of the darkness, I hear this, Waldo! It was Daryl Sheeler and Jim Fox Harrison that were there, and they were screaming for me.
Oh, wow.
I guess go, you know these people? Yeah, haven't been gone that long. So anyhow, that was really, really cool. So we get to the hospital, and we go in and we just shower for an hour. I mean, just shower and shower and shower. We come out, we ate, made ourselves sick 2 or 3 times, you know. And then me and my wingman Mark went and we smoked Lucky Strikes and drank Coca-Cola all night, you know, until the next day. So while we're there, we got treated and debriefed. In debrief and treated. So anyhow, big deal is we wanted to make sure that we didn't leave anybody behind. So what they were trying to do is pick our brains if we saw any signs or any names, carvings on different walls and stuff like that of anybody that they could follow up on. Because the Vietnamese said, yeah, we gave you all the names. Oh yeah, right, anybody. And the cool thing about all the names and people, a lot of people, there was a lot of MIAs that were accounted for. And so at one point it was Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, parents of Lieutenant so-and-so of the Navy, got a phone call last night, said their son is alive and he's coming home. Mrs. So-and-so, wife of Major so-and-so from the Air Force, got the same phone call. At the Walsh family household, Captain Ed Easton and his first sergeant showed up 10 o'clock at night in their dress blues with 2 bottles of champagne. They knocked on the door, they only said one thing, got any glasses? And they started the party that went all night. My parents called their buddies and all that stuff. So it was, I mean, it was uber cool. And so that's pretty much the way it ended. I went to St. Albans, hung out there for a while, had a couple of redos on my malaria, and then I went back to work. And I'll end with this, I mean, because it's a couple things that I got to get square with all the A4 people here, is a lot of people wonder, well, shit, what's Waldo doing going to F4s, you know, after he came back? Well, let me tell you what happened. 2 things. First thing is, I always felt if I had to take another walk like that again, I wanted to have an English-speaking guy with me. So that was one. The second thing is that it was Lion Phil or Lion Ernie, you know, my monitors, they're at headquarters, go, hey, A4s are a thing of the past, man. You know, they're not going any place. They're going to be gone, Harriers, all this other stuff. I'm going, really? So what do you recommend? Well, for your career, I recommend you go to AWS and go to Harriers. And I was a Hollywood Marine. He didn't understand that. I just wanted to get to the West Coast. And so I said, they're flying F4s out there, right? He goes, yeah. I said, send me to F4s, you'll never hear from me again. So I went out for the F4s. It's a good plane. It's a cool plane. But for about 4 years or so, and then Dukeland and the Hun rescued me and brought me back into the fold, into 211, same squadron I left. And so the rest is history. Thanks a lot for your time.
Brilliant.